Paul Finebaum said that college football is dying, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Finebaum said that it's all about contraction, and ultimately, as much as big conferences don't really want to expand, they'll be forced to take the cream of the crop out there, whether it's the Big Ten going to the Northwest, Colorado and Arizona, or somebody else just deciding to go to the Big 12. I don't believe the Pac-12 can exist. So said the great Paul Finebaum.
Right.
And the struggle for me, and what I've always struggled with in these conversations, how much bias is there in what Paul Finebaum says?
Absolutely a lot.
Well,
Plenty.
Clearly, right? He is an SEC guy through and through. And I don't have a problem with that. The Pac-12 has its mouthpieces, as we have well documented on this show. So I don't have any problem with Finebaum necessarily defending the merits of the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
But this, in my opinion, I think this is just completely accurate and on point. I actually think he's 100% right. I don't think, and whether it's the SEC, the Big Ten, the Big 12, I don't believe that any of these large conferences really want to, oh, wow, breaking news out of college basketball. How about this story? Memphis coach Penny Hardaway has been suspended for the first 3 games of the 23-24 season for recruiting violations and violating head coach responsibility rules. The violations were classified as level 2 mitigated violations. So Penny Hardaway, we knew this was coming.
Mm-hmm.
He's lost. The transfer portal has not been his friend this week.
No. Nope.
That's a very interesting story to keep an eye on. But in general, I don't believe that college football is dying. I think the NCAA is dying. But, if we're being honest, I think you have to look at all of this contraction. I think you have to look at the situation like the Pac-12. Is the Pac-12 in the situation they're in because nobody cares about college football? Because there just isn't an interest level. No, it's in this situation, the Pac-12 is, because of utter mismanagement. But why is the Big Ten where they are? Well, that's because they have the largest TV deal, and they have some of the most powerful and successful brands in all of college sports, which is the exact same thing I could say for the SEC, obviously, but I can't say that for the Pac-12. I certainly can't say that for the ACC, meaning I think the ACC with this grant of rights completely mismanaged it. They completely blew it as a business model, and it's allowed the Big 12 now to come back from death's doorstep and become a major player in college athletics. But, Jake, by no degree do I believe that college sports, and specifically college football, is dying.
No, and I think there's a heavy desire to watch the product, and that ultimately is what it comes down to. If you take the football fandom out of it, and you say, okay, do people desire the product? Do they want to watch it? Well, absolutely. College football is dominant in our TV landscape, in our country, and that's where I think, this stuff from Finebaum, while he's not necessarily wrong when it comes to the Pac-12, I think the health of college football has never really been better. I mean, you look at how much it's talked about nationally. You look at, just how much drama there has been around the college football playoff since its birth and creation. Like, I think that's exactly what the point of the college football playoff really was. I mean, you go from computer models and, doing it a certain way for however long that was to basically saying, okay, we're going to sit around a table, look at strength of schedule, look at rosters, look at path, and decide who goes where. And that set the college football world on fire. And so when you look at college football, I think it's incredibly healthy. I mean, the idea that we're having conversations around who's got a better, career, when it comes down to like the Sabinator or Kirby or Lincoln Riley and Lincoln at SC, like there are all these storylines and narratives and things that drive college football forward. And so I disagree that college football is dying or it's at all in bad shape. I think it's in perfectly fine shape. The Pac-12 is the one where I'm starting to look at this situation and say, okay, it's now the 21st of June, right? Keep counting down the days. When are we going to get a TV deal announced? And my feeling is there's a possibility at this point that they don't get a TV deal announced. Right. Because if it was going to get announced, I have to believe that it would have been already, and that's kind of crazy to think about.
But I also look at like this Pac-12 expansion conversation we've been having. SMU and Tulane fans and San Diego State fans are going on and on and on about, well, we won a national championship or we played for college. I think the thing that people forget is in these conversations, on-field achievement, on-court achievement is almost meaningless. Like, it doesn't matter what Craig James and Eric Dickerson did at SMU. That's what I can't get people to understand is I'm telling you, it doesn't matter that BYU won a championship in 1984. Why is BYU attractive to the Big 12? Why was it such a catastrophe that the Pac-12 didn't add BYU in over there in Little Provo, Utah? Why is it such a disaster for the Pac-12 to have passed on BYU? Well, because the viewership, the reach, the dollars that they bring, the scheduling, the wins on the field are secondary and really third, fourth, fifth down the list. Very low down the list, right? If you look at SMU, nobody's like, well, let me check their conference record over the last 5 years to determine if I'm going to put them in the Pac-12. You would only be going after SMU because of Dallas, and you would hope, and I don't believe that SMU does, but you would hope that SMU would deliver you the Metroplex, and I'm not convinced that it does. I'm really not. I look at Tulane, and I think why is Tulane far more attractive to the Pac-12, according to the sources I've spoken to, than SMU? Because Tulane has all the academic standing you could want. They're an AAU institution. Like they marry up to the current membership much better than SMU does.
Thanks.
Nobody cares about football, baseball, basketball versus, hey, what revenue can SMU or Tulane bring to the table in the Pac-12? That's what matters. That's always what's going to matter. That's what's always mattered. And I'm telling you, that's why Tulane's a far better partner, because you have to look at not only athletic, right? You have to look at, like, one of the major arguments is Tulane has a 4,000 seat basketball venue, which they sell out. They will sell out. Joining the Pac-12. The problem is the Pac-12 is not a basketball league.
Yeah.
Because in all likelihood, the Pac-12 is going to lose Arizona when they've already lost USC and UCLA, two of their better basketball properties in the Pac-12. So does it really matter that Tulane's not known as a basketball school? It doesn't. It absolutely does not. What's more important in Pac-12 membership? Tulane's basketball capacity or the fact that they're AAU and they do research and they make revenue through education? Because I don't even think, and I could be wrong, you tell me, I don't even think the Pac-12 cares that they've got a 4,000-seat basketball venue.
No.
I don't even know, if you're considering expansion, I don't think you know or care how many people fit in somebody's basketball arena.
No, and I just
don't think it matters.
I don't think you're looking at it on that small of a scale. I think you're not zooming in that much. I think what you're doing is you're saying, okay, well, how big is the university? What kind of revenue do you have? Have you been relevant in athletics? But most importantly, and again, I think people forget this, most importantly, are you AAU? Are you a good educational institution? And believe me, I wish they'd come off it a little bit. I really do. My opinion and my philosophy with this situation has always been, yeah, education matters, and in college it's always first. But I think this balance of education and the grants and the money and all the things that these different institutions do on the education side, that's always going to take priority. But I think the combination of strong academics plus strong athletics is what ultimately propels programs to the top tier echelon of athletics. Because again, you look at like a Northwestern, prestigious, academic institution in the Midwest. Great. When's the last time they did anything in athletics, right? Well, that doesn't change the fact that they're still a great place to go and get an education.
And they're a valued member of the Big Ten.
Right? Because they're so good educationally. So this conversation isn't about, hey, well, did you win or lose football games? Like, yeah, that matters. But ultimately, what does it come down to? Hey, Stanford sucks at almost everything they do athletically. Had a nice run in the College World Series this year, right? But what is Stanford known for? Well, they're the number 3 college institution, educationally speaking, in the country.
And Tulane's 44th.
So Tulane, yeah, are they a college football playoff juggernaut? Are they in the tournament every year? Are they doing anything athletically that is worth a damn? Not really. But they're a good add to your conference because of the educational money you can bring in. So that's why I say, like, this is deeper than just do you win football games.
I think Tulane's 30th in the country amongst private it's a private institution. I think they're ranked 30th among private schools. I think they're 44th overall. I mean, there's a lot to like about Tulane. Now, again, I think all of this goes back to the Utah Jazz TV deal. I know that sounds crazy, but the other part of this that I think is so fascinating is the Pac-12's got to get a TV deal before any of this matters. Before you can expand, that's why this fiasco with Canzano reporting a grant of rights was done. It was never done. It was never close to done. It's not done. It's not close to done, right? Like, because you don't have a TV deal. And your media rights deal is the heart of a grant of rights. But how are you going to pay for SMU, Tulane, San Diego State? How are you going to do that? I think that's the bigger issue. And I look at the secondary schools in the Pac-12 right now, of which I would put the University of Utah in this conversation. Because I think when you look at, hey, what are the big brands in the Pac-12? Well, it's Oregon and Washington. Like, those are the 2 big brands of the 10 remaining, right? But as an institution, Utah's absolutely valuable across the country to any conference. Does that mean they're going to get an invite from the SEC? Absolutely not. Does that mean the Big Ten's going to come calling? Probably not. But is the Big 12 very interested in adding Utah? Yeah. Is that because they bring a ton of eyeballs to the TV? Not really. They're not the worst. They're not certainly the best as far as viewership goes of what one would think could be available schools. But the one thing you know is they're going to perform academically. They are, I think, 105th in the country for colleges. They're a research institution. They're AAU. They're medical school. Like, everything that you want. Business, medical schools, you can get your MBA there. Like, everything you want, Utah brings. By the way, they have the best defensive line, and they probably have the best defensive unit in the Pac-12. They can walk into your conference in the Big 12 right now and compete, arguably, to win a conference championship. Utah's the perfect example of a school that's never going to have the biggest enrollment. They're never going to have the biggest alumni base. They're certainly not going to have the best basketball program and have not for some time. But they're incredibly valuable. Their women's sports are performing. But they're not the first school you're going to think of when you come to the Pac-12, right? No, you're going to think of Oregon, Washington, and are you going to think of Stanford and Cal before you think of Utah? I think certainly Stanford, and I think certainly Cal for academics. But other than that, if you look at Utah's total package, it's awfully difficult to beat what they add. So when you look at the schools that are going to be potentially available, I think there are really only, Arizona. Although there's a lot of politics in Arizona right now. The culture in Arizona is struggling a little bit. Arizona is absolutely valuable, right? I think Utah's valuable, Oregon, Washington. All of this to say, what does it matter if the Pac-12 does not get a TV deal? It doesn't matter. Because all of these institutions are going to go somewhere, and they all have dollar values. So while everybody's sitting around arguing about adding Tulane and SMU, you got to get a TV deal first. And I don't see how and again, I could be wrong. I'm wide open to the idea, but I just don't see how the Pac-12 survives as a major conference, much to Paul Finebaum's point, which is, I don't believe that the Pac-12 can exist as it is currently constituted.
Are we clear on that?
And if you do lose schools, and this is the part of the equation that nobody in the Pac-12 wants to talk about, not a supporter, not a mouthpiece, not a media member, not an administrator. And we've asked them all. If you don't get a media rights deal, how do you survive? Okay, let's say you get a $19 million media rights deal. How do you survive? Because you're not going to be able to compete with the other 4 conferences if you are making $19 million a year and San Diego State and SMU are in your conference.
Yeah.
I think you are irrelevant. I think you are wholly irrelevant in the landscape of things.
Yeah,
I think that's
I honestly think that this whole situation, you're at risk of losing your P5 status. I think you can only go so far.
I don't disagree with that.
With, hey, we're making so little money and we only have a certain amount of team. Like, you're not a P5 at that point. So, yeah, I think the PAC has a lot at risk here, no doubt.
Yeah, I think the Pac-12 is in a very precarious situation.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to you. I appreciate you guys being here. If you're watching the show live, like Derek Myrie is, hello, Derek. Preston, what's going on with you? He goes, what's going on?
What's going on,
What's
sir?
going on? Provo Cougar fans, say it ain't so, Monty and Jake.
I think there's some shock factor happening that we're on right now.
Yeah, if you're watching the show live, it is Wednesday, June 21st at 10:30 in the morning. We are going up to Canyons Golf today, the official golf club of the Monty Show. We have an event. By the way, why don't you come and join us Tuesday, June 27th, which is a week from yesterday, up at Canyons, to play a little golf in their annual Memorial Day tournament. $500 per team, so $125 a player, and that includes everything: greens fees, food, drink, you name it, it's covered. It is the prizes that Darren Ingram, the pro up at Canyons Golf, has lined up. And we play a lot of golf on a lot of different courses.
Yeah.
Canyons is routinely the best. Darren is one of the best directors of golf we know.
Mm-hmm.
He puts on a tournament like this. This was their largest event last year at Canyons. And I would tell you, get involved in it, man. It's a 4-man scramble. You get food and prizes included. Swanee's, you get a Swanee's party and shopping spree at 9:30 a.m.
We'll be there. Come see us.
And we are going to be there. You get top-notch prizes for all players. RSVP, just send an email to canyonsgolf@vailresorts.com. Canyonsgolf@vailresorts.com. Again, it's $500 per team. That's for your entire 4-man team. $125 a player, and the prizes, the event, the golf, it is spectacular. Jake and I will be there. Come on out, play some golf with us. Let's have a good time at Canyons Golf. By the way, we need 2 players for our team. So if you would like to golf with us,
part of our team,
and be aggressive expansion. We need people to golf with us next Tuesday in the Memorial.
Schemers trying to control their little worlds.
11 a.m. tee time, 9:30 shopping spree with Swanee's Golf. But come up and be on our team. It's $125. Why don't you get in and join us on our team at the Memorial?
Yeah.
It is going to be a fantastic time, and it is all thanks to our friends at Canyons Golf up at Park City Mountain Resort, Canyon Side, Canyons Golf. We love it. We'll be there today. We play there every Saturday and Sunday morning at 7 a.m. We would love to have you come out. So come hit with us next Tuesday in the Memorial up at Canyons Golf. I think it is going to be a wonderful, wonderful time. Truck Stop Gumby says, I don't live in Salt Lake City, though. Do you golf? Do you golf?
I mean, certainly there are someone in this chat can play around on Tuesday. Somebody.
Yeah. It'll be awesome. Clint Mose says, I knew it was caused by golf.
Well, everything in life is caused by golf, dude.
Golf is the beginning and the end. It's that simple. Bob Holsey, who's been a little frisky lately. Bob, PAC needs to do a deal with the Saudis.
Fucking America.
What do you mean? No, they don't.
Saudi stooge.
West Virginia Mountaineer Lair with Kenny says, hey, Jakey Two Holes.
Hey, guys.
Hi, how are you? Elaine Tran says, I boycott golf because of the Saudis.
Well.
Okay. That's fine. Bob says they need 2 ringers. Well, I mean, if you golf well, that would be amazing. Chester Copperpot, have you asked San Diego State and SMU to play with you? Well, that would be a non-conference event. And,
Excuse me, it's non-con, please.
Yeah,
it's a non-con.
Non-con. Thank you. Non-con. Derek Myrie says hello. Hello. Good to see you as well. Elaine Tran says the Pac-12 lost their P5 once USC and UCLA went to the Big Ten.
Nah.
I think when you have Oregon, Stanford, Cal, and Washington and Utah, you're fine.
Yeah.
You still have the Arizona schools. You're fine. You have the state schools in Oregon and Washington. I think you're fine. If you lose even one more team, I think you're completely destabilized.
Yeah.
And if that team is Colorado, I think you're destabilized.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you lose, and again, our sources have told us that the TV deal in the Pac-12 is going to be $19.7 million is the exact number we heard multiple times. If it is, and let's round that up to $20 million. Our sources have told us it'll be $20 million in the Pac-12. You're going to lose half the conference.
Mm-hmm.
I am as convinced as I have ever been with that.
Yeah.
You will lose half the conference. There's no doubt about that. Big 12, Patrick. What's up, Patrick Bourne? $22.5 million. Add dilution for expansion and unequal revenue. This whole, and what's the right way to say this? I think this whole thing of unequal expansion or unequal revenue and expansion leading to unequal revenue, like, it's bad business, dude.
Do you understand that unequal revenue is already a thing? Like, conferences have been doing this. It's not like, oh, well, the conference's TV deal, like in the Mountain West. Hey, everyone gets $4 million. Yeah, except for Boise State, who gets more money because they're Boise State, and Fox has the rights, right? And then CBS has the right. Like, dude, like, it's never been, hey, every school gets the same amount. That's just how much money you're getting from the TV side.
And we hear about this. San Diego State's probably the best example of this. So San Diego State right now is making $4 million a year from their TV media rights deal from their grant of rights in the Mountain West. Let's say you go to the Pac-12. What is enough money to make a move and to completely humiliate yourself the way that San Diego State has? What is enough money to move off your $4 million slot in the Mountain West? Well, it probably doesn't take a whole lot more. If you got $10 million.
Yes, you're going.
You're going.
Absolutely,
you're going. So let's say the TV deal is $20 million. And you're San Diego State, you're going to take a $10 million payday. How long are you willing to take half as much as the rest of the conference? That's a big question. Is it 5 years? Is it the duration of the TV contract?
But that feels like an item that is like, hey, it depends on your perspective on it if you're San Diego State. Because if you're San Diego State, you really shouldn't be saying to yourself, oh, well, how long are we going to be pigeonholed and doing a horrible TV revenue thing? What you should be saying is, hey, yeah, we upgraded, bro. We added 6-7 milli to our books just on a baseline, and that's probably going to go up because of the college football playoff. So if you're bringing in, let's say, 14 million after Oregon and Utah make an appearance, even Washington may make an appearance in the college football playoff. We haven't even talked about the basketball bracket, not that the PAC is strong in that area, but let's say that someone just happened to, let's say it's San Diego State, because I know San Diego State has a great basketball program all of a sudden. Let's say that they make another run this coming season. Well, now you're going to make more money. So that's what I'm saying. Like, let's not sit around and kid ourselves, San Diego State fan. You're at 4 million right now. If you got 10, now you're bumping up to probably 15-ish after it's all said and done. I just don't know what you're complaining about. Well, like literally, what are you complaining about? Straight path to the college football playoff if you can put a quality product on the field. You're in a P5 now, right? So you're automatically eligible. You're good to go. So I just don't understand what, like, San Diego State fan has always been kind of salty on this topic. And I'm just saying, hey, if you were to get into the Pac-12, yeah, the embarrassment is what it is, but now you're making a ton more money. So what are we complaining about?
Yeah, a ton. And the answer is I don't know. But this is the great conundrum with San Diego State. San Diego State's in a position of leverage with the Pac-12 because is there anybody watching this show who can envision the Pac-12 not adding San Diego State?
No.
I don't know how that could happen. How are you? The only way that they don't add San Diego State is if the conference implodes, and I'm not convinced the conference is going to implode.
This case,
I'm not convinced that the Pac-12 is disappearing. I do not buy into the fact that it won't be here.
The opposite of full.
I don't buy into that. I think in one way, shape, or form or another, the Pac-12 is going to exist. Will that be with 8 teams? Will that be 12 teams that are AAC members? Will that be Tulane and SMU? I don't know. But what I do know is I don't believe this conference disappears.
Yeah.
I think it will look vastly different.
Yeah.
I think there's no doubt about that. The money is too great in other places. The grass is too green for a lot of these powerhouse universities to hang around. On Twitter, arguing with an SMU fan. Nobody's insulting SMU. Nobody. But I'm just telling you, it doesn't matter what Craig James and Eric Dickerson did on the football field at SMU. It has no place in the conversation of who's more worthy of a Pac-12 bid, SMU versus Tulane.
You are what you are.
Yeah, it doesn't fucking matter what Eric Dickerson did all those years ago. It just doesn't matter. The scandal, frankly, that gutted SMU athletics doesn't matter. We're talking about, well, but it's true. We're talking about today going forward. It just doesn't matter. Dude, do you bring academics? Do you bring AAU? Do you bring research? And do you bring significant dollars attached to all three of those? Oh, you don't? Okay, then we're probably not going to add you.
No.
It'd be nice if SMU was, hey, we own the Dallas Metroplex. We bring millions of viewers. We have AAU status. We have research. We're an institution of higher learning. Problem is, you're not, and you don't. I mean, that's just a reality of it. So we can sit here and we could talk about the fact that, hey, SMU plays in Tulane plays in a 4,000-seat basketball stadium. Because that's what SMU fans are hanging on to. And I'm telling you, that and the crime in Louisiana is what SMU fans are hanging on. I'm not even. If you go look at the tweets,
there's no crime.
Go look at the Twitter conversations. Go look at the fact that people are like, oh, yeah, there's crime. Oh, God, New Orleans is crime-ridden. Okay, but do you think that Palo Alto, California, which is the home of Stanford University, dude, do you understand that 3 blocks away, and this is not a joke, 3 blocks away from Stanford is one of the largest Hells Angels clubhouses, and they control a 3-block area there. Do you think anybody cares in the Big Ten that the Hells Angels have a clubhouse just off of the campus at Stanford in East Palo Alto? Do you think anybody cares? They don't even fucking know. They don't care. So this idea and this crime, can't add crime. Oh, please. They're in San Francisco,
This is fucking America.
The Pac-12 is headquartered in San Francisco. Have you seen downtown? Have you seen Union Square these days? Crime. What do we like? This is what we do. This is what we do.
Yeah.
This is what we do.
Yes,
hey, big shout out to Giggity. He gave us 5 memberships today.
Okay, let's go.
Let's go, Gig. Appreciate you very much. Thank you. Man, there is a lot of people talking about this. I'm telling you, the biggest problem that I have is we can't have civil conversations. Mm-hmm. That's the biggest problem I have. John Teal, if SMU is so bad, why not tag it with Rice? Well, I don't think anybody thinks SMU is so bad.
It's not a good or bad conversation.
No.
It's, hey, do you check these boxes or do you not check these boxes? Right? Again, AAU, relevancy in your market, footprint size, there's a lot of boxes to check, but that's the things you're looking at. I mean, it goes without saying that SMU football is not Oregon football, right?
Correct.
No one's disputing that. And no one's saying that SMU sucks because they're not on a P5 level.
Correct.
No one's saying that. So it's not really a good or bad thing. It's more like, hey, bro, are you in the AAU group or are you not? Number one, if you want to join the Pac-12, right? That's why Arizona State was so hot to trot, right? So then Ray Anderson could go on a podcast and make an ass of himself again, right? That's what ASU does, right? But again, the point is that when you're looking around at potential expansion candidates, and this goes for the Big 12 too, man. I like, the UConn situation with the Big 12, hell, even Gonzaga's situation with the Big 12. Like, you look at these different factors, and everyone got all tripped up, like Gonzaga in the Big 12. They got all tripped up that Gonzaga doesn't play football. How the hell are you going to add Gonzaga? They don't play football. Unequal revenue sharing. Oh, my God. It's like, dude, chill. It works perfectly. Hey, basketball and all the other sports Gonzaga plays, they're going to roll those into the Big 12. And then, by the way, Gonzaga is going to be happy taking half a share because that's a massive pay raise. And by the way, they understand, hey, we don't play football. We know we don't play football, but we're damn good in basketball. And that's our value.
And again, I say, why is Rice more valuable than SMU? Not because Rice is AAU. Rice is a power institution of higher learning, right? With all due respect, is it better than SMU? I don't think it's better than SMU. Why are they more qualified for Pac-12 membership? They are. Rice is more qualified because, again, it's public information. Go look at the list of AAU members. Anybody on that list that is a major athletic department is going to be qualified more than SMU because SMU's not on that list.
Yes.
And I'm not talking about the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT. You're not adding MIT to the Pac-12 as some, snarky little fellow.
Grifters
said, Elaine Tran said Rice is the Harvard of the South with Tulane. Hey, could be. Lokeman said AAU is kind of the NCAA of academics. It's kind of sus. It's not sus at all. It's like a qualification. It's a box on your resume that
I really don't care if you think it's sus.
And again, and I know this is where we tend to derail the train daily on this show.
Right, yeah.
The Pac-12 cares far more about academics than athletics. Yeah! I know. I'm not saying I do. I'm not saying I agree or disagree, but I understand it.
We're on to Cincinnati.
I understand it. The Pac-12 and its institutions are not, they are more concerned with your successful research grants than they are with your softball team. That's why I think so many people don't understand the decision-making in the conference, because they are making decisions on academics, and you're trying to figure out win percentages of the coach from 1976 to 1992.
You fucking donkey.
You knock yourself out, man.
You're not going to get a nickel for Buddy's retirement party,
You're
okay?
not.
They're worried about pencils in the classroom, all right? Just get it straight.
Tanner says, what does Rice bring? Right? Well, athletically, Rice brings a hell of a baseball team. They bring an incredible law department. They bring AAU standing. Now, you know what they don't bring? Alumnus and a huge enrollment. They're the size of a grain of sand. And what are they? North Houston. It's a tiny university with a tiny footprint that happens to be powerful academically.
Yeah.
Bottom line. It is that, but that's to me. Patrick Bourne, PAC is going on the Atkins diet, prepared to drop some schools. Maybe. I don't know when that's going to happen. Dude, if you'd have told me we'd be at the summer solstice and we wouldn't have a Pac-12 TV deal, I'd have told you teams would have left already.
That's an issue.
It's June 21st and we don't have a TV deal. How?
Yeah, I don't know.
How?
I don't know.
You know how? It's pure incompetence. Pure incompetence. Jay Chapman, how are you? The Pac-12 isn't even expanding. It's replacing at best.
I agree.
And I understand that we're all anticipating the death of the Pac-12.
The doom.
Breaking news on CNN.
That's fucking interesting, man.
The Pac-12's not dead yet.
Yet being the key word.
They're the lady knocking on her coffin at her funeral.
Right.
Did you guys see that, by the way? Lady's in her coffin and she's knocking. And I said to my wife, obviously we don't know the whole story because what? In your funeral home, you don't have embalming fluid, so you just threw this hoe in her coffin and I'd assume she'd wake up if you started like trying to drain the blood from her body, right?
This case is empty.
You know. Riley O'Brien, how the heck are you? He says, by the way, whey protein. Whey protein. Whey protein isolate, by the way.
Okay.
Clint Mose says Tulane has top-tier uniform color combos.
I agree.
Hugely important to the academics.
Totally, dude.
Huge. The green wave.
Roll up in the green wave in the classroom, dog.
Oh, my God. Jacob DeLambo says Gonzaga is guaranteed a Sweet 16. That's why they have an invitation to the Big 12. Nobody wants to listen to us.
Gonzaga.
Nobody wants to listen to us.
I like Gonzaga.
You know. Nobody. It's just little old Monty, the hacks
Good
on
old
YouTube.
Monty.
You know, hey, Marlon Shaw gifted us 10 memberships.
Here we go. Let me pull it out. Hang on. All right. Hey, here we go.
Thank you, Marlon Shaw. Thank you, Giggity. We have 15 memberships on the board today. If you're not a member of the show, get after it. We appreciate all of our members. You guys make the show possible. Your money goes right into our greens fees. So
sorry if you're offended by that.
I wish it did. The remodel of the studio that's coming very shortly, you're going to see where your membership money goes.
Yes, you are.
You know, you will see where your membership goes. Sam J says, thank you, Marlon. I already read that one from Tanner. And that is why the PAC athletics are down. Well, PAC athletics are not down. This is a fallacy. PAC athletics are not down. I could argue the Pac-12 was the second best football conference in the country last year.
Yep. Everyone forgets about Oregon State. It's a 10-win football program.
And by the way, if TCU backslides, because again, I know Oregon's good. I know Washington's good. I'm telling you, that team up in Salt Lake City has the best defensive line in the conference, and nobody wants to listen to me on that. I'm warning you, the Utah Utes have one of the best defenses in the country.
Yeah.
And Cam Rising and Brand Keithy are back offensively, and that offense is always going to go as Cam Rising goes.
Yep.
They have a chance to three-peat in the conference. It's going to be next to impossible because I think USC is just absolutely going to come and stomp on your balls every single Saturday.
They're going to stomp on your balls.
Yeah, and they're going to wear long. Not anymore. Not after the USC game, you don't. But I'm telling you, it's going to be very difficult to beat USC. But them boys up in Salt Lake City, they have a phenomenal defensive line. Not good. I mean, phenomenal. Phenomenal. I'm telling you, it's going to be Truck Stop Gumby. The Monty Showgrum is AAU. Yes, it is.
Facts.
Yes, it is.
Sources.
West Virginia Mountaineer Lair. Your name's Kenny. Yes, there are massive stadiums brings money. Okay. Randy Cole, this is awesome. Usually you are on at 5 p.m. Absolutely love listening to both of you. You are both incredibly intelligent and thought-provoking. Thanks. But nothing about how good-looking I am.
When is parade?
When is parade?
Yeah, because we're the best.
I hate that drop.
When is parade?
Lance Butters, thanks for the membership. Outside the echo chamber, it's sus in a good old Lime Boy Club. Okay, good old boy club. It could be sus.
Man. Sure.
Kyle A., I'm a little bit shocked UNLV doesn't get a little more attention. Bigger market, playing in NFL stadium. Invest money into the school and athletics and may greatly improve. But here's the problem. And I know we just talked about this yesterday. Where's the saturation point in Las Vegas? Because you already have major college football not named. You get big games there. BYU Notre Dame at Allegiant last year. You already have the NFL, sort of, with the Raiders. I mean, they're in the NFL, but, you know. So you already have the NFL. We're already getting major college football games, major college bowl games. You're already winning Stanley Cups with the Las Vegas Golden Knights, the LGVs. You're already getting a baseball team. I think it's just a matter of time that you have an NBA team. How many people are going to support UNLV athletics? Pac-12 or your mom's house? Like,
yeah,
I don't see it.
UNLV game or NBA game?
And by the way, how many administrators want to bring their kids to Vegas to play UNLV?
Wow.
because that conversation's gone round and round as well.
Yeah.
Which I think, God forbid, you should have to parent your kids, right? But
Yeah.
I think it's a conversation.
Yeah, Vegas is tough because it is. It's just such a different type of market. Like, it's not a traditional city where you've got this established population. It's more like Las Vegas itself is very much a commuter town. Absolutely, obviously that's what that town's been built on for decades. And I think what Vegas is trying to do is reach out into the Hendersons of the world and bring those people in more, give them more reasons to come into the city, right? Like there was a wave of Californians that moved to the areas like Henderson and other areas around Las Vegas and Nevada there. And I think Las Vegas just wants to bring more of those people. They understand that, hey, if we can get the established, like, committed community person to be in our town more, that's going to help us. But again, I think it's a great point. If you're UNLV, and really, if you're the Pac-12 looking at teams, why would you add UNLV when they've got to compete with all these other teams and all these other opportunities? Yeah. We haven't even talked about all the shows and all the casino business. I mean, again, if you said to someone, hey, UNLV game, it's 2 o'clock kickoff today, let's say, just randomly, 2 o'clock kickoff. Yeah, well, see, the thing is, I got a 5 o'clock tip-off in the NBA tonight, and I was hoping to go play some slots, and, like, you understand why it isn't necessarily the best fit. And
the gambling issues that are pervasive now in the NFL. I don't know how many people have heard about this, but the NFL is having massive gambling problems. Like they just reissued gambling rules and regulations to all of the teams in the NFLPA because they've had so many violations. I mean, the Detroit Lions scandal alone. But you're getting multiple players now suspended for gambling, and it's a lot of it is NFL gambling. It's not even like they're betting on college sports. They're betting on NFL games, which is absolutely a no-no, right? Like, I think Vegas, A, is saturated, and B, I think a little bit of that taboo is sneaking back in.
Yeah.
Because freedoms aren't free. We know that, right? Like, you understand that. So I think UNLV, and the other problem is UNLV doesn't really play football. Like, I think it's cool and stuff that they... everybody's like, oh, they play in an NFL stadium. Hey, that's cool, but does UNLV move the needle in college football? They don't.
No.
That is a basketball school, and it's very difficult to rebuild that basketball school.
Yeah.
The best event basketball-wise in Vegas is the NBA Summer League, and it's not close. So, Provo Cougar fan says USC could finish third. Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah, no. Nope.
I don't know about that. That would be tough. Big 12 Mafia Nathan, to get the membership, do you just click the present icon? You do, I believe. I don't know. I can't claim a membership because it's my channel. Truck Stop Gumby says the Oregon State University. It's the Beavs, please. Clint Mose says K-State couldn't beat Tulane at home either. Tulane's good.
Yeah.
Tulane's good. Owen Lovell says click it, then click on the prompt to get it. There you go. Everybody's saying yes, Big 12. That's how you get a membership. Chad Masters. Chad, hello. Feels like Cam Rising has been at Utah for like 10 years.
You're not wrong, bro.
No, it doesn't. It feels more like 15.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Like it was Travis Wilson was the same way.
Yeah.
At Utah. It felt like Travis was never going to graduate. Already read that one. Let's see. Owen also says Washington is looking like the team to beat in the Pac-12. Penix came back and I think shocked the world. But nobody talks about Utah year in and year out. Nobody talks about them, and then they wind up winning.
Yeah, and then everyone's all surprised.
Kenny says UNLV is a baseball program. Don't disagree with that. Aaron Wilson says BYU was best Big 12 ad. Well, I mean, from a reach, marketing, money-making standpoint, I don't think there's even a question.
Yeah.
Houston and UNLV were the two best, or Houston and BYU were the two best ads. No doubt about it. Two Masters says UNLV is a no, bro. Exactly. Alex says Vegas A's baseball. That whole situation sucks. It absolutely do. Big Daddy Magic says, hey, yo, players, it's almost Victor Day. Best be in suits tomorrow.
It's almost Victor Day.
Man, I thought you were.
There's the way.
I thought, by the way, Big Daddy Magic, I thought you were going to see Ryan Smith, the owner of the Jazz, today.
Yeah, that's what you said.
Are you going to tell him to come on the show?
Yeah, tell him to come on the showroom, dude.
Come on now. Outside the echo chamber says, talk about dangerous areas. UNLV. I love Vegas. I don't think Vegas is dangerous. Tanner Plummer, the biggest problem with UNLV is their fan base. It's not large and there's not a lot of passion, so they're probably not going to draw a lot of eyeballs. It's a commuter town. UNLV is a commuter university.
And everyone gets all pissy when we roll that term out there, but I just don't know any other way around it. I mean, that's just
Totally
the
agree.
nature of Las Vegas.
Yep, totally agree. The Monty Show, as always, is presented by our good friends at The Advocates, theadvocates.com. Utah Advocates, you guys, if you've been in a wreck, you got hurt at work. How many hit-and-run accidents? Know anybody that has been involved in a hit-and-run accident? You know how frustrating it can be.
I was involved in a hit-and-run accident. My chiropractor recommended me to the advocates. They completely took care of everything. Now that my case has been settled, I feel like I can go back to my normal life, all thanks to the advocates.